All right, we got the S-turn in the boiling hole. Got Ryan and Pete hanging with me today. And we got a crossed paddles party going on. The main man, Mitch. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Hi, Pete.
Look at the ladies.
Hey,
Woo!
What's up, Petey?
Everyone's hanging out today. So we got Adam, Austin, Jerry's around here somewhere. Got a drone. Oh yeah, we're ready today. We got Alan.
Yes, sir.
Good to see you, sir. Steve Hall, James, Mitchell, Gerald Keplinger. Oh yeah. And I see Evan and Guy up there. Some others, people everywhere.
It had been too long since I'd had a chance to paddle with Evan and Guy, and it was good to finally get back on the water with them. And we are here today with the Cross Paddles crew at the official Central North Carolina Whitewater Training Grounds, the Boiling Hole on the Mayo River, North Carolina. This is right up near the Virginia border, and it's a great place to park and play and to get as much as you can out of these nice two rapids, the Boiling Hole and the S-turn. And a little about the Cross Paddles crew. They're a great bunch of folks that have been loving kayaking for a long time, and they kind of got interested in whitewater on accident, we'll say, because as P5 wanted to be a whitewater kayaker last year, most of my focus shifted to spending that time with him, and I drug a lot of people into the sport on accident because I guess everybody made it look so fun, and it is. So we are kind of back to the basics on whitewater with these guys, and for several of them it was their first time here, and it was time to start dipping a paddle in some good whitewater to see what it felt like, to see what it was all about, and to have a little fun. And right off the bat you come up to the boiling hole, and I love this little fader boof, this flare boof on the left, and land and control eddying out. It's a great exercise. Alan goes over and does a straight boof, but he goes back into the hole a little bit. We'll clean that up. Here comes Austin Wallace from Side Trail Adventures. He's just gonna plug the hole his first time through. And then my little rippers. Evan, look at that stroke and the control and P5. They're just old pros at this now, and they've come a long way since the first time we were here last year. And now we're making our way through these little ledges on river left below the boiling hole, and then we'll line up to run the S-turn, which you have a couple options as I explain here to Austin.
The traditional line is to boat angle right through here and then follow the flume around. The slot booth is right here between those two dry rocks. So you can go all the way there, around that pillow rock, to the right of it, or through the slot booth. All right. So make your own adventure.
And Austin actually has a pretty good run through here, though when he lands he loses his edge control and...
Yes, brace! I was here, brother. You good? Phew!
And that's just all part of the fun when you're trying new things. Today the push on the river was not as high at the top side, and that left us getting pushed a little further left than we were expecting, and that's just something you got to figure out. Different flows make different rapids different. So Pete was a little left, and you can actually hear him upset with himself that he didn't run it perfect, but he cleans it up on the next one.
Yeah, but you ended it well. You went too far left, didn't you? Yeah, that's all right. You ended it well. Stuff. Let's go make sure. Y'all head straight to the beach. I'll check on Austin here. You good, Austin?
Never better.
Hang in there a little longer. I could have, hand of God rescued you. Or
I got some water up my nose and in my mouth.
that was it. Oh yeah. Swimmers, huh? Next time catch an eddy, we'll talk about it if you want, before we run it. How'd you do? Swimming? Did you pop your nose, your cheek? Did you pop your cheek? Ah.
So that's basically the run if you're just here to do the boiling hole in the S-turn. There's a great beach right here at the bottom to collect up and get your boat out. And you simply just hike your boat back up and do it all over again. And here you see Jerry coming in for his first fader boof. Rock star. And here comes Jackson, his first time here and my first time paddling with him. He's going to be a great paddler. He's very new to the sport and just doesn't really have edge control or an instinctual brace yet. But he rolls really well in the pool and he's not afraid to get in there and mix it up, as you will see. And here comes Jamie. She didn't quite get up on the rock like she wanted, but her correct boat angle and her continuing through the move got her into that eddy after all, and that's what you want to do. Get away from that hole, get into the eddy, and be in control. And when you do this fader boof, you basically want to drive up almost at the seam between the rock and the water, a big stroke on the right side of your boat, and land in the boof to edge with the left paddle in the water to control that eddy turn. And one of the reasons we do this little move so much on this river and we practice it so much is this is a control move. As you'll progress up in kayaking and you come down rivers, there are times when you need to get out of the current into a controlled eddy to set back up for another rapid. So as you'll see, most of the new timers will go off it at a straight boof. Spencer here is practicing free wheels and things, even though he doesn't have the height to make it work. He's just a fantastic paddler and he's having fun seeing if he can make one of these stick on such a short drop. And you see Adam going straight over, as is Dina here. And they're just doing a straight boof, which is part of the learning curriculum. Most people don't start with a flare boof. Mitch goes over, he's leaning back, he needs to lean forward and take more of a stroke. Guy has a great run, keeps a paddle in the water on the landing. And they'll compare that to Alan, who is trying to take a boof stroke, although you can see his paddle is not on the lip of the rock. And that's one of the hardest things to do, is to wait until you can grab the rock, not the water on top of the boof. So his boof stroke was too early, and then when he lands, he keeps his paddle in the G.I. Joe position, or basically the hang glider position a little bit. He's using it as like a balance beam for a tightrope. What he needs to do is really get that paddle in the water so he can control his boat. And if you watch again, the boof stroke's too early, didn't do anything, and then he drifts right into the current, and he's kind of just at the mercy of what the water wants to do. And so that's why you keep that paddle in the water. It's the only way you can keep positive control over your boat. So once again, I'm pointing for that slack water eddy behind the rock, and to get there, I'm going to make a big right boof stroke, launch out over the hole, land in that spot with my left paddle in the water, and just sink right into that eddy. Not only does it feel great anytime you boof, it's kind of addicting, but in this case, you are controlling your destiny by placing yourself into a controlled environment versus at the mercy of the river.
Oh yeah!
So the next thing you can do here after you make your boof is actually go get back in that hole that you've been trying to avoid. And this is a great place to do that because it's very chaotic. You can never really figure out what's going on, and it changes every 0.2 of a second. So you can't relax, you can't really surf it well, but it is a great place to try to get in a hole and learn to control it. And Spencer and I were doing that and kind of joking and talking because it looks so inviting, but it really is inhospitable for a kayak. But relatively safe, and it flushes you. So if you're looking for a little hole control, jump in the boiling hole there and see what you got. And since you're at the boiling hole and now you're a little tired, you get out and get a drink, and you figure, hey, let's seal launch back in and try it again. So the seal launch here is probably 6 or 7 feet, and it's a great place to get your first vertical kayaking in. Very easy to control that. Sometimes it's a little slick up there. You need someone to help you get in your boat without sliding too soon. Here we got Mitch Engel contributing to the swimmer bell totals. He's trying some ferries, he's trying some things. So just understand, swimming is part of the fun. It's gonna happen when you're learning. Nothing to be ashamed of. Just keep getting in that boat and trying again, and sooner or later it's all gonna come together for you.
Yay! Woohoo! You got it now. Nailed it! Nailed it, Austin! Go backwards, baby! Awesome!
For the day's ugliest one.
No, I'm sure there'll be more than that. Woo! Good run! Nailed it. Like a boss. Perfect line. That's my boy. Hard up, Evan! Yes! Uh-oh. Yes, you got it. Good control. Good control, Evan. Too long since I've given you a paddle slap, bud. Look good. Get in there. Backstroke right. Yes! A backstroke right will get your front facing.
So as hopefully you can see, it is virtually a kayaker's playground. There's a little bit of everything to get into, and it's not too far from home, and you can make your own adventure. You can go as easy or as difficult as you'd like to go, and it's just a fantastic place to hone your skills. This wave here is actually a pretty good surf wave. It's a little pocket wave that's hard to get into, and it kind of wants to kick you a little bit, but if you have a planing hole boat, which I do not on this day, you can actually surf it for a pretty good amount of time. A lot more controllable than the boiling hole, and it's just a fun wave. For those not quite ready to get in that wave and surf, you can use this washout as a perfect place to practice your peel outs and ferries. And Austin's still letting his bow get washed a little quickly. One big more stroke on the downstream side will keep your boat angle through there.
Yeah!
And here you go again. Never forget that being upside down is often just a symbol of you trying to learn. No shame. If your roll's not 100% yet, just try to have a friend on standby so you can T-rescue like Austin is here. Keeps you from having to drag your boat all the way to shore.
Fantastic! If you want to do a stroke, do a left one, it turns you up the river. But I'll push down too, and you should land pretty decently flat. Okay. You ready? Like a jump master. Ask me how I know about that, Jackson. You ready? Yeah. You ready yet? You ready? Oh, he's in there deep. He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Yeah! Oh dear. Yeah, he's done. Lean left. Lean. Oh dear. Yes, Jackson. 1, 2, 3.
So it was time for everyone to get their seal launch on, and it's just a great place to do it. You basically want to lean forward to keep your knees up. If you lean back, you'll make your boat enter a little more vertically.
I don't know. Right there. Hey, paddle! 1, 2, 3.
If you try to lean back, your boat will be vertical and you'll do a plug entry, and it'll be harder to maintain control of the boat. A creaker's always better here, but you can do it in virtually any boat. Just always try to remember to lean forward, not back, and take a stroke when you land. And Bonnie liked it so much she had to go back for a second hook. That's what I'm talking about. And here I'm trying James Ripper. The same flare boof again. You can do it a million times. It's just great practice. And on this run, Bonnie paddles very defensively, almost coming to a stop as if she didn't want to go over. That's a natural thing for a beginning kayaker. Nothing to be ashamed of. Just in the future, try to go forward with aggression and make it happen. Jamie's coming in looking perfect, except for that left stroke introduced right spin momentum and blew her off her line back towards the hole. And you can see when she lands, now she's going the wrong way away from the eddy, all because of that left stroke instead of the right stroke. But that's all part of the equation, one little piece of the puzzle at a time, and I'm sure she's gonna nail it next time. On this one, Alan's going for the flare boof, but his bow gets washed downstream as he loses his boat angle. But he fights for it on the right side of his boat to get back left, and that's what kept him out of the hole this time. And so Austin's lined up pretty decent, but he starts drifting and he doesn't power through. And he's gonna get his bow washed to the right, you have to know it's coming. And then he takes a left boof stroke, which just felt natural. If he'd have taken a right boof stroke, he'd have come on into the eddy.
Yep, come to me. Paddle, paddle, paddle. Right there.
So we've made our way down from the boiling hole to the bottom of these little ledges, and we are setting up for a run through S-turn and have a little group that's going to give it a whirl.
Your boat needs to be pointed to the right until you're past that rock down there.
Okay.
Left strokes. Don't paddle on the right or you're going that way.
Okay.
And so as I break this down, I want to start by saying this rapid is all about boat placement, as are many rapids. But if your boat is in the right place through the entrance to this, it pretty much works itself out from there. So to break it down, the green arrow is my intended path. I don't want to get too far right and hit that dry rock, but I really don't want to fall into the hole or get washed up on the pillow rock, both circled there. Now what I'm dealing with is the current of water is pushing me to the hole and the pillow, and I have to overcome that somehow, which is why I have right boat angle, as you see there. The way to keep that boat angle is to put predominant left strokes on. I may still use right strokes, but my power stroke is on my left side to keep my nose pointed into the current until I'm past that entrance slot, in which case I'll relax that and let the S-turn take my bow to the left and wash on back through the rest of the rapid. So as you go, you don't need a lot of speed, but you do need a little bit, and you definitely want that right boat angle. And as I come up here to the slot, and you can see the piece of water I'm looking to be in, you have to understand that water is going to push you in there. That's why I'm high on the right side on the rock, ready to swoosh down into that little slot. Where I don't want to be is in the hole or on the pillow, as each one of those will guarantee an interesting experience and most likely negative, as Bonnie demonstrates in a minute. But as I come through the slot there, my boat placement has enabled me to be in control without any extra effort, and at this point I'm just placing a couple little paddle strokes to get through the rest of the rapid. All the work from that rapid is done by making it to the slot with the correct boat angle. And we'll refresh ourselves with rule number 1, never enter a hole sideways. But to her credit, she did adhere to the other rule number 1, which is always lean downstream. It was just a tough place to be, and if you've kayaked, you've been in this situation, the only thing going through your mind is, I have just messed up. And so what she did is not stay far enough to the right with enough right boat angle, and she didn't use enough left strokes to keep ferrying across that current, and instead of arriving at the slot, she fell into the hole.
Yeah, Bonnie!
And just remember that it is impossible to learn kayaking without swimming. So Bonnie went for it here. It did not work out for her this time, but as with all the other people there at the river today, props to them for trying. It's not about looking cool, it's about learning how to kayak. And if you're afraid of messing up, if you're afraid of swimming, or if you're afraid of being embarrassed because you don't look like you know what you're doing, you're just not going to learn how to kayak. We were all there. She's there right now, but she won't be there long. And that's the same for any of you that are learning and maybe feel discouraged. Keep getting back in that boat. It's going to come. And then one day you can look back and realize how much fun it is and how glad you are that you stuck with it. So once again, props to Bonnie and all the other folks that jump back in the boat each time and are willing to go out and look like this on camera so that they can get better and so that they can help other people get better as well. And here goes Austin, coming in, much better control, much better job getting through the slot booth. That was very intentional and it looked good. Here you go, Jamie flips at the top, dredges the channel, still in her boat, unbelievably.
Good. Way to hang in there, Jamie. Way to beat that up. Hip snap it, hip snap. Hip snap. You're good.
Beast mode activated.
So what Jamie did there is just remain cool, calm, and collected, and she was just basically dredging the channel through the entire rapid, but hung in there long enough to get a T-rescue, and that's pretty impressive how long she was in the boat while actually being not even in her outfitting anymore. She was just in the boat because the skirt was still on. She just would not give up, and it shows a lot of presence of mind.
This is a fun boat. I love this little boat. Yeah, but it is so fun. All right, so that's the end of the day. That was a good day, huh?
That was a good day.
Boiling hole, first time for Jerry. Great little training spot. First time for Austin. River King swim team, baby. Making good on the promise today. It was fun. Let's ride home, get some dinner.
We had a fantastic day with the Cross Paddles crew up here at the Boiling Hole. Everyone had a ton of fun, but I've got to leave you with this clip recorded by Tim Simpson of our good friend Anthony Barber. And he had been watching Spencer do those special moves off this ledge all day, and not to be outdone, here he is with his first attempt at a Cobra Flip at the Boiling Hole. And if you're not familiar with the Cobra Flip, I recommend the video with the link at the top of the screen. This is Aniol Sarasolsis, professional kayaker and the first guy to do this move. And that is a thing of beauty. He has what they would say better than average skills, and he is one of my heroes. And that brings us back to River Jim on his first day on a river, going for this move. Let's see how it works out. Almost had it. And if we go back and watch, his lineup is perfect. He starts to engage that left edge so he can get that kick off the ledge. At this point, I thought he had it. Everything was looking good. He actually even leans forward. He just didn't quite have time to complete that in mid-air roll stroke that gets his rotation around. I think he was just missing about 18 or 19 feet of ledge, folks, and he would have had it first try. But way to go for it, Anthony. Way to hang in there. And of course, now you see what happens when you miss sometimes. He's getting his first introduction to swimming the boiling hole. And I know it may not look like it to you folks at home, but this is the most fun he has had since he opened Christmas gifts at 5 years old, folks. Look at him getting every square inch of fun out of that hydraulic and living life like a boss. And I definitely saw a lot of progress on the day, and in some cases I know it doesn't feel like it. But you just got to keep going back. You got to keep climbing back in that kayak and keep sending whatever's giving you trouble. And sooner or later, it's going to come together for you. Special thanks to the Cross Paddles crew for the invite, the hamburgers, and the fun. It was a fabulous day, and I wish I had more time to paddle with all of you, but I'm sure we'll be back soon.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. Yeah! Until next time, I'll see you on the river.